The Uber autonomous car involved in the deadly accident in Tempe, Arizona, sensed the individual. It knew she was there, but it didn't take evasive action. Let's talk about it. Hey everybody, Mark here from uberhints.com. The latest news that just came out the last few days, and I'm looking at a lot of different sources, and there's not a lot of detailed information, but they're all in agreement on one thing, and that's that the Uber vehicle that was involved in the crash, the autonomous car, the self-driving car that was involved in the deadly crash in Tempe, Arizona, knew that the person was there. They're looking at all the data now. They're going over all the records and whatever recording devices are there other than the video recording. And all of it points to the fact that the car recognized that individual. Now, it didn't recognize it as a person, but it recognized something was there. And it chalked it up to being what they call a false positive. The false positive meaning that it knew something was there, but it didn't take any evasive action because it didn't think it was necessary. Now, this goes back to that video I did a couple of weeks ago. Remember when I was going through the construction site and I was talking about a variety of different scenarios? I talked about, for example, a pile of snow that fell off the back step plate of a truck, and cars are just passing through it. Why? Because we can make that decision as human beings, as human drivers. I can look at a pile of snow. I've lived with snow my entire life. I know what snow looks like. I know the difference between a big chunk of ice and a little pile of puffy snow. I can also determine whether there's already other car tracks passing through that. I can, look at that. I can recognize it, and I can make a human assessment. And that is a problem with autonomous cars. They can take in so much data. They can take in so much more information than we can. And that's true. It never falls asleep. It never gets tired. It is constantly vigilant. All those things I have to agree with. To a certain degree, we can say autonomous cars are safer. But they recognize things as being a false positive. Now, I know what a lot of you are thinking. You're thinking humans make the same mistakes. Yes, we do. And if we knew there was a flawed human, would we intentionally put it out on the road? Yeah, I guess all humans are flawed, but it's our society. It's not the robot society. It's not the mechanical society. It's not the machines society. It's our society. We still have to go out. We still have to interact. We still have to move around within our community and within our environment. We do not, however, have to introduce foreign things into that environment and into that community. One of those being the autonomous car. Just because we have one flawed component, human beings, doesn't mean that we have to introduce with open arms another flawed component, that being autonomous cars. Now, what the reports are all agreeing on, they're not giving a lot of details, but they are saying that the safety mechanisms, whatever they are that they have in place, were turned down to a lower level. Now, that is exactly what I was referring to in that previous video, and I am going to link it here. I'll also put it down below in the comments section if you want to watch that one. But that's the problem, isn't it? If you have it up at a really high rate, it's going to stop at everything. When the pile of snow falls off the back of the car, it's going to stop. When you have it at a lower rate, saying, yeah, we can compensate for those things, it kills people. What's the happy medium? Cars cannot make decisions. They simply cannot. And I looked at this report, and I thought, now I call it a report. It wasn't really a detailed report when I say I looked at it. I looked at news reports is what I looked at. And I'm thinking to myself, is this supposed to make us feel better? It recognized it. It did see something was there, but it made the decision to do nothing. Now, of course, we're all wondering about that driver too. I haven't heard a lot said about the so-called safety driver who absolutely was not paying attention. That person was looking down, and it looked to me, I don't know what they were doing. It looked to me like they were probably looking at a cell phone, probably texting, but that's just an assumption on my part. So that's probably not fair to say. But they were looking down doing something. What else does a person look down to do? They weren't looking down at the dashboard. They weren't just glancing down to see how fast they were going. They were looking down at something. And it just all leads to this whole crazy notion that when the car runs into situations that it can't handle, what is it going to do? Hopefully it defers to a human being. Well, if it's going to defer to a human being, what's the sense of having an autonomous car? What we're really looking at is driver assistance. When I get in my car to take one of my long journeys, as a lot of you know, I like going to Florida, and oftentimes I drive because I enjoy the journey. I like all the states between Wisconsin and Florida. And as I'm driving, yeah, it'd be nice if I know I've 2 hours on this expressway, I'll kick it into autopilot. I still have to be there, I still have to be vigilant, but I'm heading down an interstate that's relatively straight with nice white lines on either side. Pretty much, you know, your typical Toyota can handle that now, right? Because it has the guidance for left and right on the painted sides of the road, and it has the little radar, LiDAR, whatever they call it, that senses a vehicle in front and it can slow down or speed up. Yeah, and that's almost all you need. So you hook all this other stuff up, and I would feel comfortable with driver assistance. But when you run into these issues, yes, I saw the person, I didn't act on it because I thought it was a false positive. Not a good thing. And it's just one of those things that I think goes towards a future of autonomous cars to probably being, you know, all of this is great investigation. What's the word I'm looking for? It's wonderful science and it's wonderful testing and experimenting, but the application has to be tempered with a human being. And this leads to another thing that's been in the news lately. For some reason, the flying car has reared its ugly head once again. And now I guess it is officially called Uber Elevate. I've heard it called Uber Air, but I've been seeing it referred to more often than not as Uber Elevate now. They're still saying 2020. I'm saying you're nuts. 18 months, there's no way this is going to happen. But they're saying that they're going to roll it out. Now they're saying LA, Dallas, and I'm sorry. It was someplace in the Mideast. Forgive me. I don't remember right now without checking my facts. But they want to roll it out on a test basis in 3 cities. And what they're saying is initially it's going to be piloted, and then it will, in time, be autonomous. Are you kidding me? You're going to have an autonomous flying vehicle? What kind of decisions is that thing going to make? I don't believe it. I believe Uber is lying through its teeth on that one. And okay, we can look back in a year and a half, and I am man enough to say I was wrong. But I suspect I'm going to be coming back in a year and a half and saying I told you so. Just like I did when I was the Swami predicting tipping. I think there are too many things that go against having flying cars. Now, agree, disagree? I guess I would like to hear your opinions down below. I talked about a couple of things here. Number one, autonomous cars. Do you think, and 3 questions I'm going to ask you. Autonomous cars, do you think that they should be fully autonomous? Just give me a yes or no on that. The other thing I want to ask you about is flying cars. Are they going to happen by 2020? Do you really think we're going to see them test marketing these things in Dallas and Los Angeles in 2020, in 18 short months? That's the second question. And the third question, should they be autonomous? Should it be autonomous? That's what I want to know. Should anything be autonomous, for that matter? Now, in the next couple of days, I'm going to have some interesting videos. By the way, I'm heading to New York Thursday. I'm flying into Newark. So if there's any drivers, maybe I'll get one of you to drive me into the city. And I'll be driving right back out. I'll be down in the financial district in New York City. And I'll be heading right back out about 5 o'clock on Friday afternoon. Oh, isn't that going to be a great time to be driving through New York City? So anyways, who drives there? maybe I'll catch up with you. And then the following week, Monday, 4 or 5 days from now, I am going to be in Florida. I'll be coming into Fort Myers. So who knows, maybe I'll get some of you as my Uber drivers. As you know, I love it when you comment, when you give me the thumbs up, when you share the videos, and especially when you subscribe. And don't forget to check out my second channel, the Average Me channel. Thanks everybody. I'm Mark with uberhints.com.